thank you, Min, for joining us today to address the questions and concerns that our EB-5 investor may have regarding the program in general as well as the project itself. And first of all, can you help us introduce a little bit about yourself as well as CanAm Enterprises?
Oh, it's such a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me here. So I have the opportunity to, directly address, your investors' questions about CanAm's latest EB-5 project, Jefferson Terminal Phase 2. CanAm has been, one of the oldest and the most successful regional center. We actually first established our regional center in 2002, and since then we have successfully raised more than $3 billion for 60 different EB-5 projects. And we also have, consistently repaid our investors' capital back after they achieving their immigration success. So at end of last year, we have repaid more than $2 billion in EB-5 capital back to our investors who have gotten their conditional green card and permanent green card through CanAm's project. So everybody at CanAm works very, very hard to make sure that we always bring the highest quality EB-5 project to our investor globally. And today I'm here to introduce you to our latest EB-5 project, Jefferson Terminal Phase 2. We are very excited about this infrastructure project that CanAm is collaborating with Fortress on.
I see. So now you're raising funds for Jefferson Terminal Phase 2, right? So can you introduce a little bit about the project, where it's located, and the location, does it play any factor into the project itself?
Yes. So the Jefferson Terminal is an energy logistic terminal that is based in Port Beaumont, Texas. So Port Beaumont, Texas is really in the center of the petrochemical industry of the United States. And Port Beaumont is not just a busy commercial port, it's also one of the busiest military port in the United States. And all the large oil companies and refineries have their facilities around the port because that's how they ship their product out to different markets. So, Jefferson Terminal is very strategically located in the center of everything. So they are very connected to all their major customers. And last year, because the demand in the United States for energy independence become more and more important, their biggest customer, ExxonMobil, is expanding their refining facilities in Port Beaumont. So for that reason, Jefferson Terminal has to do a second phase expansion to meet the demand from their biggest customer, Exxon. Hence the reason for the additional need of EB-5 capital.
I see. Sounds like a very large-scale project. So can you give us more insight about the operational scale of the project? And besides ExxonMobil, who would be the client for the project of Jefferson Terminal?
Right. It is a very large-scale project. We do have a very impressive bird-eye view videos about the facility. You can see that. So Jefferson provide two types of logistic services for these large refineries. They have more than 5 million oil storage space, on site at the terminal now, and they also have all the different transportation methods that their refineries can use to ship their petrol product out to different parts of the world. So if you look at the terminal, they are surrounded by rail tracks, and it's direct connect to the state railway systems in the US. They also have access to tank trucks, to shipments, because the port is right next door as well. So it is a very impressive site. It's very well managed. And Jefferson is in a very unique position because they're just across the river from ExxonMobil, which is going to be the largest refinery.
Like a neighbor.
Yeah, they're a neighbor, exactly. There's a very kind of thin river between them.
I see.
So the pipeline will be running beneath the water to connecting these two facilities. So all the oil product can flow freely in between the two facilities, because pipeline is the safest way and the most effective way to transport oil product.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, but it's not just ExxonMobil, right? ExxonMobil is the largest oil company in the world. Their stock is actually at an all-time high right now. But Jefferson Terminal also have long-term contract with a few other large refineries. So there's a Total, that's the largest energy company from France. Also Motiva, which is the refinery of the largest oil company in the world, Saudi Aramco. So these are definitely all household names in the energy industry, which is more important than ever right now. Yeah. And Jefferson also provides storage services for some of the large oil producers in the region. So there's a lot of kind of shale gas companies in that area, which really kind of produce a lot of oil to meet the energy need in the United States. So they're very uniquely located to service these clients.
Yeah, it's very impressive scale of the project.
Yes, yes.
Okay, speaking of the capital structure, can you help our investor analyze into the capital structure as well as how does it protect EB-5 investor as investment-wise as well as immigration-wise?
That's a very, very good question. CanAm, we have been so successful in terms of selecting EB-5 project and to repay our investor. The reason for that is because whenever we look at an EB-5 project, we always make sure that these project is financially sound, that they have access to other capitals other than EB-5.
Right.
We actually like to work with borrowers who doesn't need EB-5, who have solid, access to the capital market where they can get fundings from banks, from government, and from other resources. So for Jefferson Terminal, that's exactly the case. Because the terminal is actually a public-private partnership between the local government, the Port of Belmont Navigation District, and a private company.
Right.
Yeah, so this is a very common way in America for the government and private corporations to work together.
That's
and
right.
It's very effective. Yeah. So in this case, the most of the funding for the phase 2 expansion is actually from government bonds. So to support Jefferson's operation and expansion, the Port of Belmont Navigation District have issued more than 400 millions of municipal bonds.
Governmental support.
Yeah,
right?
these are local government bonds to support the expansion of the project. So that's actually make up the majority of the funding for the project. And the EB-5 is a very, very small component. We're only raising $28 million.
How many percent in total?
In the overall capital stake of the company, EB-5 will only be 2%.
Wow.
So it's really, really very, very small.
It's very rare for us to see a project that raised less than 5% total capital stack.
Exactly. Yeah. We have a long-term collaboration relationship with Jefferson's parent company. Hence the reason they would like to work with us on this project, even though the fundraising is very small scale. And we love the project also because the government funding has already been in place since August last year. So the construction has been ongoing. There are a lot of capital spending that has already been occurred.
Right.
So because capital spending in EB-5 is directly associated with job creation. So in the Jefferson Terminal project, actually more than 700 qualifying EB-5 jobs has already been created. And we will only have 35 investors in the project. So we already have more than enough jobs to support EB-5 investors' permanent green card application. Yeah. So when it comes to immigration, we think this project is very, very safe for our investor. Yeah.
So you mentioned you need 35 investors, hence we're gonna need 350 jobs, right?
Yeah.
And as we speak today, how many jobs again did you mention?
It's already more than 700 jobs.
Do we have like a job creation report as we speak today?
Yes, we do.
Oh, that's great.
We get quarterly construction and spending updates from the Jefferson Terminal operating company. That's actually the main responsibility of CanAm as a regional center, as an asset manager, is we monitor the progress of this project. We make sure the capital that we contributed is used in a way according to the business plan and meeting UScis requirement. So we are definitely receiving this spending notices, this spending receipt from the project, and every quarter we prepare a project update report to our investor as well to show them the progress.
So because the client gonna have the conditional green card first, right? And then after that, at the stage of I-8 to 9, they're gonna need the jobs for their permanent green card.
Yes.
So when you expect how many jobs the phase 2 of the project gonna produce for client in total? And how does it compare to the required number from UScis?
Yeah, we just talked about the scale of the project. So it is a very large scale, construction project. The spending of the project, together with the EB-5 capital, will actually create 1,990 jobs in total once the construction is completed, which will be early next year. So the job cushions in the project for each investor is very, very big. I really don't think there's anything for investor to worry about in the project when it comes to job creation.
That's great. That's what our investor would like to hear.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Min. So after we go through all of the questions, what is the one last advice you would like to say to our investor who are looking into applying to EB-5 program?
That's a really good question. I get this question very, very often because I am a licensed financial advisor myself. So I definitely have a lot of investors that come to me and ask me, how do you select a good EB-5 project, right? This is the ultimate question that we ask. So because every EB-5 investment has two goals. One is to help our investor achieving their immigration goal. And that is the project has to create more than 10 EB-5 qualified jobs for each investor. And the second goal is a financial goal, is to make sure the project can repay our investor their principal capital back. So when CanAm choose EB-5 project, our due diligence solely focus on these two goals. We don't like risky project because when we make EB-5 investment, we are not going after the higher returns. We wanted the project to be as safe as possible and the developer to provide as much collateral as possible to secure our EB-5 investors' money. So that's kind of how we evaluate the EB-5 project. I would say in general, investors should look at three main features when they are evaluating EB-5 investment. The first feature I think is the really kind of the reputation and the experience of the project operator. Right. We always want to work with large companies who have a lot of experience in the space, understand the industry, who have successfully done this type of project before. For us, this is very important. Yeah. And the second is obviously the financials of the project. Right? Have they secured all the funding they need for the project? Because the EB-5 project often fail because they ran out of money. to complete. So for CanAm, we will never work with project that hasn't secured funding from the bank or the project operator hasn't put in their own equity invested. We want our project partner to have a lot of skin in the game, to have a lot of their own capital invested. So they're more determined to make the project successful. Yeah. And last but not least, I would say is the experience of the regional center. How long the regional center has been around, how many projects they have done, what's the success rate, right? You know, CanAm, we have navigated the policy change of EB-5, you know, for more than 20 years at the point. We have never had project to be denied, and we know what are the warning signs to look for when you choose the EB-5 project. So, you know, we have a very comprehensive due diligence process when we choose each project, and we always make sure that during the course of the project, we have very strict monitoring policies in place to ensure our investors' capital is safe and their immigration is, you know, each step goes smoothly.
Oh, I see. And I heard you mention about the collateral. So in this project, does the EB-5 investor have any collateral against their investment?
Yes, absolutely. So CanAm's EB-5 investment is always a loan investment.
I see.
So we will always have some kind of collateral from the project operator to secure our capital. So in the Jefferson Terminal's case, the project sponsor, which is a large investment company in the US, they have invested more than $700 million of their own capital in the project. Yeah. And their entire equity investment are our collateral, meaning that if they don't repay this small $28 million EB-5 loan back to our investors, the project operator will lose the entire $700 million of their own investment. So you know that they have a lot to lose in this case if they default on the loan obligation. So that's how we ensure that, you know, our investors' capital have priority over the project operators' own investment.
I see.
Yeah.
I think that would make that would put our investor in a very comfortable position. Yeah. Okay, that's great. I think it's very insightful and it's addressed all of our client concern, and we hope that more and more investors that can apply into the program as well as receive the green card and settle in the US with their family. So thank you, Min.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.